Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? How is everybody doing? I figured this was actually going to happen. I am actually losing reception now. Um, Maybe I should have plugged into the router itself. Um, Actually, that might be the best thing to do. Let me see if I can actually do that. Well, ah, yeah, I'm going to need to. I probably should have plugged into the router. This is going to so actually let me walk and do that because I don't want to lose reception on the live. No, reception on this thing, man. Can't find really anywhere to go. I'm gonna walk through the house real quick. I got something interesting for you guys. Got something interesting here to show you. So actually, I might lose. I can't see. It's dark in here. I might lose reception real quick. Where the lights at? Here we go. Yeah, so I'm about to plug right into the router. Yeah, we got mosquitoes in here and everything. Let me see if I can hook this up real quick. I wanted to go outside, but I'm not going to be able to. Not going to be able to go outside now. Let's see. Let me plug this in. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Now I got to find my wire. Yeah, so I got something interesting for you guys to see and to talk about. Uh, I got a little better reception in here, but actually I'm gonna have to go over here. So let me go over here real quick. And I gotta find my cable. So yeah, I'm back. I hate I had to walk off the screen real quick, but I did not want to have to rewrite this. I'm going to plug directly into the router. I don't know. Sometimes Wi-Fi is good here, sometimes it's not. So hopefully this will help me out. But now actually I got good reception, so that's kind of interesting. Let me come on this side. Oh, let me close the door too. Pull it up a little bit. Yeah, my wife is actually in there working. Hopefully she can hear me. I don't like sitting on this couch. Yo, yo, what's going on? I'm back, everybody. I had actually an interesting event transpire. Hold on, let me pull this down real quick. Let's see. Actually, pull it up. So yeah, this will save you right here. If you are losing reception with your Wi-Fi, this will actually save you. So I'm actually getting ready to plug it in. But guess what? Apple does not have that. I'm not a big fan of Apple. So that's one reason why they don't have a lot of connections. Where is my? Hopefully this will work better. Maybe let me see if I can switch off of this. Still horrible. I wish it was a little better. I don't even know. Let me check to make sure if I am still live on my page. Obviously, I'm going to have to edit all this stuff out. Let me see. I don't think I'm showing my screen. No, I'm not showing my screen. So I got light. The lighting in here is not too good. It's actually over my head. Let me see if I can push back some. I think that might be, I don't know, it might be a little better. Let me see. Oh, come here, come here. So yeah, what's going on? I can't really zoom in any, but I think I'm still live on my page. Let me check to make sure. That way I'm not doing this for not, where is it? So I guess I am still live. I hope I'm still live. I think I'm still live. Let me just wait for this to catch up. I don't know if it's going to or if it's not. So I think this is live now. I hope it is. Let me just wait for a little bit. This is a real big delay. Let's see. I'm just making sure that it didn't pop off. I cannot see. Let me just wave. That way I can watch it because there's a big delay with Be Live and Facebook. Actually, there's a big delay anyway with Facebook. Even when you're streaming live from Facebook, you have to wait about 15 seconds for the actual feed to catch up. So there is a big delay. So when I see myself wave, I'm actually going to continue on with the live, which is going to be a pretty interesting live. I started not to document it. I was like, well, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Then I was like, maybe not, because it still needs to be addressed. Yep, good. So I just waved and everything is good. So how is everybody doing today? This is actually my third time going live. I guess my first time was, where was I at today when I went live for the first time? Oh, yeah, this morning. I think it was this morning. I know I went live with the cameras. Where was I at this morning? Oh yeah, that's right. I saw a Steph Curry jersey when I was walking this morning, which kind of shocked me. So I'm going to kind of play with this rubber band because it kind of makes me relax, and I like twiddling stuff. If you guys have seen Grant Cardone online, actually I'm kind of stalling now. So just to give it time to catch up, give time for Facebook to catch up. I'll give time for people to hop on and to jump on. But if you guys know Grant Cardone, if you watched his show before, he likes twiddling stuff in his hands. I don't know if he has a pen. Sometimes he has a rubber band, but it does kind of relax you and it kind of helps you think just because you're constantly moving and stuff. I guess that's that kind of, I guess it's kind of, what is it, calisthenic learning? Yeah, I guess that is calisthenic learning. So, yeah, actually, it was a pretty interesting conversation that I had today in Messenger. Actually, I sat down and I was getting ready to actually relax and lay down, go to sleep, but actually take a nap or whatever. But I actually had to get up. I had to get up because I had an interesting conversation with a particular person. So I don't know if this guy didn't, I don't know, if you're ever going to, I guess, disrespect somebody, make sure you look at their Facebook page. Before, I just wanted to make sure, I don't know, there's people talking downstairs and stuff like that, so I didn't know if the door was going to open, close, or whatever. But yeah, so make sure that if you're going to disrespect somebody, make sure that you check their profile or whatever you're going to do, or at least try to look them up online, because they may end up blasting you online. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to blast. I told my wife, it's like, I'm getting ready to go live. I got to go live about this because actually this actually is the second time that I've actually been called, I guess, this particular word, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, this is actually the second time that I have been called this particular word in my entire life. Obviously, I understand racism exists. Obviously, yeah, you can see that. Obviously, especially, well, I won't say especially. I mean, racism exists in any country in every country. I know that they talk about just the disparity of your skin, and this lighting pretty much sucks. I don't know why I'm losing reception when the router is right here and I'm plugged in, and we're on a fiber optic cable. But yeah, so I've been called this, yeah, probably like 2 times or whatever. But yeah, I told my wife, it's like, yeah, I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to blast this guy. I'm going to get him. But then she said, yeah, don't blast him. She said, but I said, well, I'm going to expose him because obviously I looked at his profile feed, and actually he has some of the same, we share some of the same friends. And I just want you guys to know that everybody is not who they say they are, and everybody's not who they pretend to be. So I don't know, you might hear background noise in the background, but because they're watching the soccer game. Actually, I'm here in Rwanda, which of all places, yeah, racism in Rwanda. But it didn't necessarily happen here in Rwanda. I mean, it was just, I was actually here in Rwanda and something happened on the internet. But actually, let me give you, I guess this is pretty interesting. Let me just go into the conversation. I want to know you guys' thoughts and everything like this. And I mean, just let me know, if you are, actually Heather jumped on and said, you had racism in Africa from who? No, I'll get into that a little bit. I just happen to be in Africa. So yeah, it was on Facebook. She said, yeah, it's on Facebook. There's a delay. Like I was saying, there's a delay. So yeah, so actually, let me just hop into it. I actually stored the conversation. Now, I was going to actually pull this up in Messenger. Let me share my screen. So I was actually going to pull this up in Messenger, but then I was like, well, I got other messages in Messenger from other people, and we have mosquitoes flying around. Don't let them bite you. But obviously, you really can't stop a mosquito from biting you. Where is, oh, let me click this. So yeah, I'm getting ready to share my screen now. That way you can look at the conversation, because I mean, I was just talking to the guy, and then all of a sudden, the conversation went a little bit haywire at the end, and I do not want sound. So you guys can see this. Let me pull it up. Split screen, and then actually I'm going to raise it up, and you may not be able to see it that good. I hope you can, but actually I'm getting ready to. Where is? Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. That's actually the cleaning lady. I think that's who that was that walked by. I can't see my screen now. So actually, this is the guy right here. He actually reached out to me. We're not friends because obviously it blocked the message right here because it says you can now call each other. You can communicate with each other. And I did not block out his name. I mean, if somebody is actually blatantly going to do this, then obviously they need to be exposed, or at least in some way. Some people really need to know who they are, because obviously if they're bold enough to say that in a conversation with somebody they really don't even know, because I mean, I was very respectful, and most of the time I am very respectful, and yeah, she closed the door back. But yeah, so you can see the conversation here. So here's the guy's name, Stephen R. Sneed Jr., and actually he has several accounts. This is his other account here. As you can see, actually, just let me play it. So as you can see, we're having a nice conversation. He asked me, he said, are you interested in hiring experienced cold caller, yada, yada. I said, how experienced is the cost per month or whatever? Let me pause. So it says, he told me he's very experienced. So right now you can see that he sent me a message in my, randomly I checked my other box. So I don't know if you guys know or not, you have 2 boxes in Facebook, or inboxes. There is one that is dedicated for your friends, but then there's one who are people who are not your friends, and there are people who are not your friends, and they allow them to, or actually Facebook sends it to another inbox. So this is where this is, and I checked it. It's kind of like a spam folder. So it says, yeah, so he says he's experienced. So it says, I'm very experienced. He says $300 per month for unlimited qualified appointments, minimum of 50 qualified appointments, all no shows, yada, yada. You guys can read. It says everything will be in writing. So it says, yes, which I am. This is true. It says, yes. It says, but I'm currently working with, hold on, let me pause a little bit. It says, yes, but I'm currently looking for a result-based freelancer or agency, which I am. Well, actually, I'm really not looking for it, but I mean, if it was, because actually I'm working. No, we'll get into the conversation a little bit later, but you'll see that from the rest of the results. It says I can do that as well, yada, yada. It's telling him I'm looking for a freelancer agency, result-based. He said $15 per confirmed appointment. Then it says, I've been in too many situations, which I have, where I paid for the month and received no results. So agency owners, I can use this as a lesson too. So if you're an agency owner, or if you're doing anything online, see if the company that you're working for, if you're looking for cold callers or cold emailers or whatever, see if the company that you're working for will actually get you results first and then get paid on the back end. Yes, I understand that, that is an expense to the company, to the actual cold calling agency company, whatever you want to call them. I understand that is an expense, but ask them that anyway. As you can see, when we get into the conversation, this guy kind of gets a little bit upset and frustrated. Let me hide this real quick. It says, I have been in too many situations. I've been in too many situations where I paid for the month, received no results. I have cold callers working for me now who are result-based, and they do not get paid until the deals are closed, which is true. So don't let me down. I don't want to say your name on this live because people will probably be reaching out to you, which could be a good thing, could not be a good thing. But I don't know if you want me to say your name or not, but I am working with a cold calling company who is actually result based. So they do not get paid until they actually close deals for me. So it says $15 per confirmed appointment, which I just realized he said that twice. I said not even booked appointments or meetings set. It says for closed deals. He said, that's crazy. That means, what did it say? Hold on, let me pause. It said, that's crazy. That means our work could go to waste by a poor closer. See, exactly. So basically what he is saying is, he's saying that whoever you are working with, am I still live on the, let me see if I'm still, yeah. So I got two people on here. It says, yes, a request box. What is a request box? Why does it say request box? But anyway, so yeah, it says that's crazy. So it says, yeah, a lot of people. So basically what the guy is saying is, if whoever is closing, actually I have closers that are working for me as well. I would put the link in the box, but I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're going to do. So I don't know if there's an affiliate program or not, but if you are interested, if you're an agency owner that are interested, and I have by no means wanted to sell on this, I'm just kind of telling you guys, I know that there's a lot of agency owners in my feed or in my friend list, or I have friends who are agency owners. So if you're having trouble with getting results, if you need cold callers and you need a closer, I got reach out to me in the PM box. And like I said, there is no affiliate program, so I do not get paid for, at least not yet. I don't get paid. So I mean, if he sends me, or the guy that I know, the owner of the agency or the program, sends me a link in between the other time we talk to each other, don't be mad at me. But right now, currently, there is no affiliate program, so I will not get paid for referring you to this particular or those two agencies, which, oh yeah, also they have a fulfillment agency. So it's like, what do you do? So actually they have a cold calling agency. They have closers that'll close your deals for you, because the cold callers pass the deals off, and the cold callers also continuously follow up, which I'll get into that as well here. So yeah, so the cold callers continuously follow up until they book appointments, and then until the deal is actually closed. Yeah, and then they actually have, once the closer closes, then they actually have a fulfillment agency. So if you need Facebook ads, if you need SEO, if you need anything relating to social media, Bing ads, Google ads, they can actually help you out. So yeah, it says a lot of people can book appointments, but it only matters if the deal is closed. I understand that. I said I understanding that, and then I said I understand. So it says, I will pass, thanks. So I thought the conversation was pretty much over. And then obviously, I guess I can forward a little bit. It said, okay, have a good one. Then he came back with this. It says, no appointment setter would ever jump on what you're proposing, which I already just told the guy. I was like, what do you mean they'd never jump on it? It's like, I already have an agency doing that. I have cold callers, I have closers, and I have a fulfillment agency on the background. So I said, LOL, I said, that's interesting. It says, I have a whole agency doing that for me right now. And hold on, let me pause it real quick. It says, and they are following up. It says, then they're getting screwed. It said, then he would comment. He said, then they're getting screwed out of money, which goes back to, the closers and stuff. So if you don't have a good closer, then obviously his cold callers are not going to get paid based off of his closer. So he's saying that he wants his money up front, which I do understand. But it's like, why would I do that when I already have another agency that's doing, the setup that I just mentioned to you guys, what they're doing? It says, then why are they working? Volunteers? It says, really, I kind of told him, I said, yeah, they don't need the money. So actually what's happening is the cold calling agency is kind of linked and booked, but I'll explain all that to you guys later. Technically, they really don't need the money because I'll get into that a little bit later right here. So there's about 20 something seconds left. So it says they're linked to a digital DM is digital marketing agency. And it says with over 100 clients, it says they are doing to help other agency owners, which they are. So I talked personally to the owner who organized all this stuff, and he is actually doing this. He has his own agency, and he has 100 clients, like over 100 different businesses that are working for him. He's been doing this for, I don't know, a few years now. So I don't know if you do see this, and you are actually watching the video and you do want people to reach out to you, just go ahead and drop your information in the comments. But like I said, there's a plethora of different things going on here. So just reach out to me if you're interested, and if he's on here commenting, or if anybody's on here commenting, then just look into it. So so he says, yeah, and then I said, okay, have a good one. So that's the second time. So I'm pretty much trying to end the conversation here, and then he comes back with this. So hold on. I don't know why it's not showing. Let me see. Exactly. So he says, you dumb, or he didn't say you, it says dumb nigger. So this is the second time in my entire life that I've been called this word. First time was actually, I was in middle school and I got into a fight with a guy, and he actually called me that. I was probably, was I in middle school or about fifth grade? Maybe it was about fifth grade. And actually, I don't know if you guys know or not, but I went to a private school, and I was pretty much the only African American there. So I was pretty much the only African American. Well, at least in my class, there was only probably maybe about 20 in the whole school, out of a school of maybe, I don't know how many students were there, maybe about 300 or 400 students in the whole school, maybe. I'd have to calculate each class because they went from kindergarten to eighth grade. So it's probably about 30 or 50 in each class. So what is that, like 400 people? I don't know, 50 times 8, so whatever that is. So so out of that, pretty much, so I was pretty much the only one. And actually, obviously, I don't know, we said something to each other, we got into it, and then we actually, started. I mean, it really wasn't a real fight. I mean, fights back then, or at least in the private school I went to, we were just pretty much pushing each other. Nobody threw any punches or anything like that. So I guess it really wasn't technically a fight. It was like, I guess it was more so of a pushing match. So, and then, actually both of us got, called into the office, and I told the superior, which I don't want to get into who was there and all that stuff. It wasn't a nun. I can say that. We did have nuns there, but it wasn't a nun. Actually, the nun did escort us to actually the nun was a principal then, but for some reason we had to go to somebody else's, another superior's office. And I told the superior what was said, and that was never addressed. They just told me I needed to actually control my emotions, and I needed to make sure. They told me that we didn't need to fight, and they did, not to say that they didn't get on the other guy for, kind of pushing me or whatever. But I'm not looking at the comments right now. Let me switch over. So so they did, actually, let me pull this up. Let me see. So they did actually get on the other guy as well. And I wanted to show his, hold on, well, we can wait for that. But so they did actually get on the other guy as well. Let me pull this down. But it was more so, it wasn't more so what he said, to me, it was just, you really shouldn't be fighting. But it's like, well, why didn't you guys address the fact that what he called me is like, he kind of called me that. So, so Heather says, ouch. Yeah, that was a big ouch. So now, the reason why I went live is just to let you guys know, because I actually had a conversation. I don't know if you guys know. I think I can say his name, but anyway, there's I'm just going to try to leave, because actually I'll get into another story with something that happened to me earlier in the year. But and I talked to the guy as far as this. He is actually a big, I guess, online guru or expert, whatever you want to call him, guru, expert. Some people don't like using experts and gurus. So, and I actually told him, because actually the conversation happened on another social media platform. And he said, I would prefer if you did not use my name, because I told him I was going to go live. I was going to take screenshots and all that stuff, because it pissed me off. Like, I'm pissed off now, because it's like, why do people still think like this? Why do people, do that? But I understand, because my mom raised me. Obviously, I was the only black kid. So I actually, feel, I won't say feel more comfortable. I've actually been around more Caucasians than I have, African Americans or black people in my entire life. So that is that's kind of interesting, because especially, when I went to a school, I was pretty much the only, black guy in my school. So it's not to say that, there's anything right or wrong with that. That's just my situation, and different people have different situations. That's just how I was brought up. That's, the situation I was in. That was my life. But the reason why I brought this up is I wanted to let you guys know that it says, what nationality was this dude who you were talking to? I'll show you his profile. Well, that's a good intro. He was actually, for me, it looked like he's Caucasian. I'll let you guys decide and choose. So I guess you saw his name, or if you did not see his name, which is going to be a different profile. Let me pull it up in the thing. But I'm not really doing this just to get him in trouble. But I'm just letting you guys know that everybody you talk to online, because like I said, there's some friends in my profile who, he has friends that are friends of mine. So everybody that, you talk to online, which I'm pretty sure you guys know this, everybody is not who they say that they are that they are, all the time, or who they say on or on social media. I try to be the same on social media that I do all the time. So you just see me out in public, I don't speak or something like that, maybe just call me out on it, even though I am a little rough on my family. Now, when I say rough, I don't mean like I'm beating them and all that stuff, but I give them a hard time, which I don't know if everybody does. I guess you be around a lot of people, a certain time, you, I guess, I don't know, I guess kind of get, I'll say just get comfortable, around, I guess, certain people, but not to say, that's an excuse or anything. But I know I am hard. My parents necessarily really weren't so hard on me, because I really didn't have curfews or anything like that. But the thing was, I didn't need a curfew, because I was actually, I said I was going to show this, guys. But I didn't need a curfew, because I was just playing video games in my room all night long. There was a couple of nights, probably my senior year of high school, where I went out and stayed out all night, but I necessarily didn't need. So is this guy right here. So obviously, well, let me make sure. Let me show you guys. You can pretty much, I guess. I'm calling him out on Facebook. Yeah, this guy is the one that said it. So I think he has multiple profile accounts, and I'm not just pulling them out, but I'm just going to show you Stephen Sneed Jr., where actually he's saying he's from West Virginia, New Orleans, all that stuff. So I'm going to compare it to this one, which I will go back on this thread. And so right here, so you can obviously see that this is the same guy. He just has a different profile, different picture, but that pretty much is. So Stephen R. Sneed Jr., and then obviously this is Stephen Sneed Jr. So he kind of changed his name, which that's illegal to do. So if you guys do not know that, I actually got banned and blocked from Facebook one time because I created multiple accounts, and I guess I was trying to run ads in each account, or either they looked at my IP address or something. But anyway, they contacted me and they told me you can only have one personal account, and they said it has to be your real name, which this is my real name. I guess it's related to my real name, but I had to send my ID, my license, and all that stuff in Facebook, and they had to verify it. So just so you guys know, if Facebook does catch you and you do have more than one personal account, they can shut down all your accounts and then not allow you to get back in. But that kind of be hard, because you can still, I guess, create an account unless they're looking at your IP address. But yeah, this is the guy right here. I just want you guys to know. But the thing is, people hurt people. And that was actually the conversation that I wanted to get into. And what is my wife saying? I cannot see the comment here. What does it say? It says, if he would have been kind, he could have gotten some business connection. Yeah, he actually could have, because I do have a lot of agency owners. And then my wife can actually see he blocked me. If you can look at the end, that's something else I wanted to show, because obviously, I was going to actually communicate him, talk to him, but I can't respond to him because he blocked me after he said that. So, just to, I don't know, can you see that at the bottom? I hope you can. Let me go right here and pause it. So yeah, this really is not showing it. But at the bottom right here, it says you can't respond to this message. I thought this would actually show it, but it is not showing it. I wish I could scroll up, but I mean, I can't respond to them. So obviously, I wanted to respond and actually say something. I wasn't really going to say anything mean or negative or anything like that. Let me pull me back in the screen. So I wasn't necessarily going to say anything mean or negative, but why is this not dropping? Let me pull this up. Now drop. Why are you not dropping out of the screen? I don't know why that's not doing that. I wonder if I can shrink it a little more. No, I don't want to do that. Oh, there it goes. Just a delay, I guess. But and now it's froze. So I guess I'm still live. Hold on, let me check my page. Yeah, so I have 3 people watching. Actually, let me address some of these comments here. So Heather says, yeah, he says he was just mad, so he became a jerk. Yeah, I guess he was mad, but I mean, that still doesn't negate the fact that he needs to control his emotions. So, and his sayings. But I mean, the thing is, yeah, he was mad, but I mean, obviously the guy's hurt. I don't know his situation. Yeah, obviously certain people say certain things at certain times. But I mean, it's just the fact that that was in him. I mean, there's like a million other words that he could have called me, but yet he actually still said that, yeah, I know I am still alive. So my wife said I'm still alive. It says, yeah, that's him. And I cannot scroll any further, so I will switch back over. Yeah. So actually, I had a conversation earlier. There was a girl in a messenger group that I am actually a part of the program. And she is actually, she said, well, what do you guys do when you reach out to people? Because they teach you different messenger tactics and all that stuff. And well, it's not who you guys are thinking. Some of the guys in the feeds might actually be thinking, but it's not for necessarily agency stuff. So I don't want you to think that it's a certain person's program. So it's not that program, but it's another program where somebody is actually teaching you not necessarily messenger stuff, but they're actually teaching you how to grow your group and all that stuff. So once I said that, people are probably going to know who it is, because actually there's a guy in here now, or on here, or he was on here. I don't know if he's still on here or not, but actually he is he's in the same group. But actually there was a lady that commented in the messenger group. Guess it was sometime last week, and she said, yeah, I'm reaching out to people and they're just so mean to me today. She said, I really need some assistance and some help. And I was like, yeah, what do you mean mean? And she said, yeah, she said, people are just being so rude to me. She said, what do you guys do? How do you guys handle people when they are rude to you? And I just said, well, you pretty much have to get used to it. I said, people are going to be rude for the fact that, hurt people, hurt people. I mean, just because somebody's going through something, or somebody might be going through something that, really, they don't know how to relate. They don't know how to get their emotions out, and they're just evil. They're just mean because, it makes them feel better. So I understand that. That's why, and I kind of told her that, and, other people jumped in. There was one particular thing where the group admin he liked, but I forgot exactly what she said. So it was kind of along the same lines where people actually, reach out to other people, and they're mean to other people just, for the fact that they're trying to cope with their own issues. And the way that they cope is they want people to feel like them. So they want people to hurt like them. So they're going to try to hurt you. So they're actually trying to pull you down to their level. But I understand that. I understand, and I know who I am. That's why I looked at that and it was like, are you serious? This guy really called me this? Like, do you really want to go to an elementary level and talk about that? Because it's like, really, I understand that, that word actually means, just ignorance, which obviously he is the one that is ignorant because he doesn't understand. Like, why would you not research somebody's page if you're going to call them that? You don't know the connections that I have. I mean, technically, yeah, I can pretty much, not to say that I want people to destroy, I want their business, because I don't wish evil on people. I don't wish evil on anybody. Even my worst enemy, I wouldn't necessarily wish them, to go out and die and have a fall. I don't do that. Because obviously, yeah, some people, I do believe in the death penalty and all that stuff, which I don't know how I got onto that. But yeah, some people, I won't say necessarily deserve to die, but obviously, yeah, there's consequences for different stuff. But I still don't think that, somebody needs to actually, lose their business, because I don't know this guy's situation or anything like that. But the thing is, you need to make sure that you're always professional in every situation. And then I wanted to hop on here and just to let you guys know, I kind of see why, a lot of people now, I'm watching a mosquito flying around. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't bite me. I kill so many mosquitoes here. And I don't want to, I understand why now a lot of people don't want to go live because they're actually scared, and they're scared stuff like that's going to happen. But the thing is, you can't be scared. You can't be fearful. Fearful, what is fear? Fear is false evidence appearing real. It actually may not happen to you. So it's false evidence. So you're actually thinking of something that might happen to you. Now, yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, more than likely, eventually it's going to happen to you. Actually, I heard a couple of people say, if you've been online for, a certain amount of time, which I'm seeing comments pop up, but I don't know why I can't see them. I mean, I can't scroll for some reason. But anyway, if you guys are commenting, I'll go back in later and respond to the comments, which I see you guys are, because there's like 17 comments on here. But actually I can, so I can flip back to this screen. So what does it say? It says, I pray for those people. Yes, that's a good thing to do. Pray for them. Don't wish evil on people, but, wish blessings on evil people. So it says they are trying to make you feel minimal, especially when they don't get what they want. That's exactly true. Heather is saying that. Heather says, choose courage over fear. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, don't let people stop you from doing what you want to do. Fear is actually paralysis. Don't be paralyzed. It says it's not an excuse, for sure. Yeah, that's true, Heather. Yeah, I understand. I'm not saying that, I don't want you to think that I thought that you were taking up for him, but yeah, there's just other words that he could have used. So yeah, and actually, we kind of, told her, and she was like, yeah, I kind of need that now. I understand that, hurt people, hurt other people. And then actually, I'm kind of, in I guess a little hard place, because I told you that, I was an African-American, the black guy, the only black guy in my class and all that stuff when I was growing up, and all that stuff. So actually something earlier happened to this, because my wife reminded me of that. She was like, 2 times in 1 year. I was like, what do you mean 2 times? She said, well, you were called a coon as well. So if you guys don't know actually what a coon is, that's a kind of a negative, derogatory term. So don't use that, if you're a foreigner and, if you see African American or a black person, don't necessarily call them that, because that is actually a derogatory term. So yeah, and I was actually in, like I said, another group on another social media platform, and I was actually taking up for one of my mentors, because which he happens to be a Caucasian guy, and I was actually taking up for him on the post, because I guess anyway, I don't need to get into all that stuff, what was happening and all that stuff. But anyway, she was just negative towards him. And then she kind of said, well, you're favoring a certain particular race, which happened to be Caucasian. And I was like, no, he's not like that. I was like, he's pretty much, he's a nice guy. He's a good guy. He looks out for every race, looks out for everybody. It's like, some of the people who were doing whatever, is like, he doesn't necessarily look out for just one particular, he looks out for everybody. And that's for all of his students. And the lady said, well, you're just taking up for him, and you're a coon and an Uncle Tom. And I said, what is going on? So obviously, and actually, I'll have to go into this too. Since I brought this up, I'm going to have to go, and I got other stories that are popping up into my head right now. So actually, I remember the same situation where in the private school I was with, we actually went to a certain location. It was on the basketball team, which obviously I'm the only black on the basketball team if I'm the only black in my class. So we were walking in, but the school happened to be black. I mean, the school was pretty much all black. I don't want to say I don't know why we went there, but it was just a public school, and I guess it was just I don't necessarily think it was necessarily an inner city, but there wasn't many. The ratio of Caucasians and other races were not significant in that area. So I was walking in with my team, which obviously I'm the one that's going to stand out because I'm the black guy. And I was walking in, and the people there were actually, this really actually hurt me more so than a lot of the other situations where it was pretty much my own people, black people, were actually saying yeah. And they were pretty much, joshing me, jekyling me, heckling me, and saying, yeah, they said, you're in the hood. It's like, look at this guy. He's with a whole bunch of, white kids and white guys. But, I'm just a kid. It's like, these are my classmates. It's like, I mean, this is the school I go to. It's like, who else can I associate with? If there's no other black people around me, then how can I associate, with them? But, I mean, the thing is, I guess they really, didn't, and I think was that around the time of Rodney King and all that stuff? But I mean, the thing is, they really didn't know how to react because I guess they never seen anything like that. And now, even especially being in Africa now, I mean, it's like I still stand out. So it's like, where do I fit in? Because actually, we were walking through one of the villages, and not even necessarily the villages, well, I guess you really can't tell so much in the city, downtown Kigali, who is from here, who is not from here, because it doesn't necessarily happen around the city, because obviously you see different mixtures and different races of people in the city. But we were walking in the village, and this little kid, I mean, he happened probably about 3 or 4, and it was me, my wife, and my kids. And I mean, actually, I'll give you another story too later on about this. But yeah, we were walking through the village, and this little kid said, Mzungu, Mzungu. So actually, we thought that Mzungu was only meaning Caucasians, like Rwandan call, other people Mzungu, and they call people, Caucasians. But then we found out when that little kid called us Mzungu, that was pretty much the fact of, well, it can't just be Caucasians, because obviously this kid does not think we're white. So I thought, it meant outsider. So then I asked another guy that was actually, local, and he was like, no, it doesn't necessarily mean outsider, or it doesn't necessarily, well, it said it can mean outsider, it can mean Caucasian, but then somebody told me it actually means you have money. So they're thinking, oh yeah, I found that out this weekend from another guy who was actually from New York, but he's originally from the Caribbean, but he lives in New York now. He lives in Dubai and all this stuff. But anyway, he told us that it means, because he said people call him that, which obviously if he's from the Caribbean, he's not that dark. So he might be a little bit darker than me, maybe a little bit lighter than me. It's kind of my complexion. I just say pretty much about my complexion. So he said people called him Mzungu as well. But actually, we went to an event at I guess it was at a hotel this weekend, and this lady came up to us. They actually call her auntie. She came up to us and she said, hey, she said, where are you? She said, she asked my wife, because my wife always gets confused for a local Rwandan all the time. So because they think that she's actually from Rwanda. So this lady comes up to my wife and she said, are you Rwandan? She said, and she looked at me, she said, I know he's not. She said, I can tell he's American, but she said, you, I can't tell. But or she said, yeah, she said, you, I can't tell. She said, you Rwandan? My wife said, no. And my wife always says, once she opens her mouth, they can tell that she's not a local, because obviously with her she doesn't really have a Southern accent, but she does have a accent. She has an accent enough where you can tell she's not from here. So so that's an interesting thought as well. But it's like, so I go to America, I don't fit in with the black people in America. I don't fit in with obviously the white people. Well, I mean, I won't say fit in, but I mean as far as colors and all that stuff. But and then you come here and it's like you still stand out. So it's like, man, where do I go to fit in? So just to let you guys know, you have to be your own person. You have to be comfortable in your own skin. You have to develop thick skin. And like I told that lady, it's like, the more uncomfortable people you talk to, the more people that you get exposed to. It's like you really want those people to, I won't say you want them to, be negative and mean and all that stuff and rude. You don't want them to, be too rude. But, the more of those people that you run into, you develop calluses. So actually, I'm going to give a story about what's his name, David Goggins. So he said he actually broke the record. So if you don't know who David Goggins is, look him up. He wrote the book Can't Hurt Me Now. So I always use examples from his. Well, I've been using examples for his book for like the past 7 or 8 months now. So it's a good book. It's a very very encouraging book. But he said, look, he said he had to do almost 20-something thousand pull-ups because he broke the record for pull-ups. He did so many pull-ups within a 24-hour period. And this guy is actually a Navy SEAL. He was an Army Ranger, and then he did something else in the military as well. The only person ever in U.S. history, in the military history or U.S. history period, or in any history, well, obviously, U.S. history, because nobody else can be in the military unless they come over and all that stuff. But the only person in U.S. history to become all of those things, and he happens to be African American. But anyway, he and speaking of fear in African Americans, he said a lot of African Americans don't become Navy SEALs is because they are scared of the water. I don't know if that is true or not. I mean, I grew up in the water. I grew up in the pool. And then he started talking about African Americans have a negative buoyancy where too much their lung capacity or something. I don't know. It's something genetic or something. There's negative buoyancy effect where it's something to do with the lung capacity and how much air we can withhold in our bodies. But he says that it's scientifically proven. I don't know if it is or it isn't, but I know I did research some stuff on Google about that. And he says that he just kind of overcame, as far as being fearful and all that stuff. I don't know. Type that in the comments if you guys know. Let me look back to see if I can. Heather says, sorry you had to deal with that. I despise racism. It is just a way to spread hate from people. Yeah, exactly. And man, I better not go into that. I won't get into that. But yeah, racism is actually, a way to expose hate. It actually separates. And actually, I will get into this though. Politics is kind of the same thing, because you got some people saying Democrat, you got some people saying Republican, you got some people saying independent. I think a lot of the political stuff that goes on now is, actually political. All the separate parties are just to keep us separate and not to keep us together. So it's just to keep us in, differences, because you have different, races, you have different nationalities, you have different, languages, you have different parties. So it's just all, spread out. You can't really get organized with anything if there's so much differences. I mean, it has to be, some similarity somewhere. But yeah, obviously, yeah, everybody's going to be different. So your difference bring you together. I understand all that stuff. But yeah, there still has to be some, difference. You don't need to create differences to make people more different. People are already different enough. So it's like you're making it more complicated than what it already is. So, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, the story. So this guy, so the more negative people that you come in contact with, you actually develop, calluses. You develop calluses, which obviously, if you guys know what a callus is, if you constantly develop a callus on your skin, you're not going to be able to feel anything. It's going to be numb. Because actually, on the bottom of my foot, I had this real bad callus, but it didn't necessarily get numb. I just really couldn't walk on it. It actually started hurting. But I understand that skin, just developed over skin. So it was actually layers of skin, which I think mine was actually on the bone itself, which I don't really have necessarily bad feet, just in case you guys are thinking of that. I would put my feet on the screen. I don't know if you guys want me to do that or not. Yeah, so actually, I don't know. Some people say I have long toes, which there's not really, too much anything, not really, necessarily. I guess some people say, actually, man, there's one guy, he cracked on me. He said, I was at the pool one time, and he said, yeah, he's like, man, why don't you go over there and pick up that pen and, write us a letter with your toes, your feet. So I was like, man, what do you mean? He's like, man, you got finger toes. So he said my toes are long, but they're not necessarily, dirty or beat up or anything like that. And then I think I don't know, I'm remembering of different stories and stuff where actually somebody said Kobe Bryant had the prettiest feet. I don't know why I remember that, but apparently he said, I heard him in an interview one time, and he said, yeah, he's like, I have pretty feet because I take care of them. And then he said, actually, I get pedicures and manicures. Well, actually pedicures, I guess it would be all the time. So I guess, yeah. And he said, I can't have ugly feet. That's what Kobe Bryant said. So I just thought about that. But back to David Goggins' story. So yeah, the situation with that is, so he said in order for him to do I think it was like 4,000 something pull-ups he did in 24 hours. He said in order for him to get those 4,000 pull-ups, he developed callus on his hand. He said that when he was doing pull-ups, he said his hands, when he first started, when he was practicing and all that stuff, he said the skin ripped on his hands. I mean, you could see almost, I think he said he had like 2nd-degree burns on his hands. That's how many pull-ups he was doing. But this guy's insane. I mean, he run all kind of marathons. I mean, he ran for like 24 hours straight. He got sick. I mean, he pretty much destroyed his body. He was in pain. He just kept running and running and running. He actually threw up. He was throwing up blood. He vomited blood. He was actually, his stool was actually blood. And then this guy's sitting there thinking about laughing. You really need to read the book if you want any type of encouragement. He's saying that, he is, he said that he was laughing. He was like, I did this to myself. He said, I actually did this to myself. He said, I pretty much beat my body. He said, my body was telling me to stop. And he said, I kept going. He said, I love this. He said, I want to feel the pain. So his wife is like, I need to take you to the hospital. We need to go. He's like, no. He's like, I don't want any pain relief. I don't want this. He said, I want to sit here in my pain right now. And I was like, man, this guy is crazy. But it takes a different type of person like that. He said all those ultra marathon runners are like that. He said there's just something in them where they just trigger. But he said he just pulled himself back to like different experiences and stuff where he got hurt. Because obviously he grew up, African-American, kind of, I think that's why I relate to him, because he's kind of, in the same situation that I was. He grew up in Brazil, Indiana, and apparently he was like the only, African-American, around, a whole bunch, other Caucasians and stuff. And, he got called, nigger a lot. He got beat up, a lot just because he was black. He got into a lot of fights. People were actually picking on them. That wasn't necessarily my experience. It wasn't that, really that bad. But like I said, this is like the only second time, that people happen to me. But people ask me, do racism exist? I understand, yeah, racism does exist, but it's like, not to say that I'm blind to it. It's just I haven't necessarily experienced it, throughout my life. I mean, yeah, I guess you can say, not necessarily directly, but I mean indirectly. Yeah, I mean I've experienced in certain situations. You go to a store and then you're followed and watched and all that stuff. And of course, some people on my feed are going to say, "Well, that's not just because you're black, because they're watching you." But I mean, I pretty much watched, a couple of other people that went in the store, and it's pretty much, I'm like the one that's getting followed. Not to draw any attention or anything like that to the situation, but because obviously, I guess it's kind of profiling or whatever. Which obviously, I guess in certain areas, in certain cities, I guess there's well, I won't say that, but I mean, yeah. So it is, racial profiling, which I don't know, good or bad. I mean, it happens regardless anyway. So I mean, yeah, I guess somewhat, negatively, it happens. I guess on the opposite side, it kind of happens here because you're different. So if you're in, I guess, a different situation, or if you're, I guess, a different person in a different situation, people are more than likely you're going to stand out. So people are going to look. So technically, yeah, if you're different here, like if you're Caucasian here, you're Asian here in Rwanda, then more than likely you're going to stand out. Not to necessarily say that they're going to be watching you, which I already got bit by a mosquito. So no, I don't believe in taking malaria pills or shots or whatever, all that stuff. I don't necessarily believe in vaccinations and all that stuff. So I didn't get anything. So yeah, nobody in my household did. And we're fine. Actually, we had a couple of people come here. It's like, hey, you want to take some of my malaria pills? It's like, no, not necessarily. I don't want to get in all that stuff. I don't know. I've just seen what they put in pharmaceuticals and all that stuff. But anyway, I won't go into that. But yeah, so in order to in order to develop, calluses and stuff like that, or to develop, I guess, tough skin, then you need to develop calluses. So he said that's what he did. So yeah, he said he had second-degree burns on his hands, on both of his hands. But yeah, he kept going. So he realized that he needed to do that because he understood that once the burns healed, or actually I don't even know if he gave him time to heal. This guy's crazy. So yeah, so he said he knew that pretty much once his hands were healed, or once he went through the pain, he said on the other side of pain, there's a good result. So let me check the comments again real quick. Oh, Heather's laughing. It says, you're talking about your callus. Yeah, on my foot. That's what my wife says. Heather says, she's laughing. It says, let's not get too personal. Keep your shoes on. Yeah, I want to pull my shoes off. Actually, it'll get some, that if you want engagement, pull your shoes off and put them on the camera. So, yeah, show your feet on social media. Yeah, I'll pull my feet up. Actually, I got on my Nikes right here. So, but I got socks on. And then, but I won't go into my socks. I don't know. I always get laughed at with my socks and all that stuff. But yeah, so there was something else I wanted to touch on here. I know, yeah, so it's like, yeah, so the guy, obviously now, then it was a lady who happened to be African American. She called me a coon and Uncle Tom, and then obviously there was a couple of other situations. So it's like, just look, people. The situation with this is you need to just get used to people. People are going to say whatever they want to say. Like I guess there's an expression and there's a saying: negative people are going to be negative, positive people are going to be positive. But you really can't prevent people from saying anything negative to you because and then that doesn't necessarily need to make you or stop you from doing, going after your goals, going after your dreams. Like I said, the night when the guy said it was like, man, you got to be kidding me. It's like this guy said that. So, I really wasn't mad. It was just like, I'm going to actually use this for my advantage. So obviously I got 22 comments. This is a pretty interesting live. You guys might want to check it out on YouTube because I might upload this to YouTube, but I know I'm going to have to cut off some of the beginning part of it. I don't necessarily like the lighting on here, but yeah. So I wanted to hop on here. Oh yeah. And that's what I wanted to touch on real quick too, was actually what my daughter said. So I showed my wife the message after she was just got off the phone. Actually, I almost showed her when she was on the phone with my mother-in-law, her mom, but I didn't. So because I know my mother-in-law would have went off because I know she was ready to leave and all that stuff. But I know she's gonna hop on this live and she's gonna be very, very upset. I know she's gonna put all kind of comments in there, so you can watch for that and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I almost said it when I was on. I was like, maybe I just should wait. So I showed my wife and she was like, "What?" She said, "Let me take a screenshot of that." So I don't know what she's gonna do with the screenshot. I didn't ask her, but what happened after that? My kids were sitting across the room on the other side of the room, and my wife told them what happened. My daughter said, what happened? What happened? And my wife said, hey, this guy called Daddy a dumb nigger. And my daughter said, huh? She said, Daddy's not dumb. She said, he's smart. And she said, don't listen to what other people tell you. And she said, don't listen to what negative people tell you. And I mean, that right there was like, because that's what you want your kids to see. You want them to understand. You want them to learn. So that means that kind of shows you that she already knows who she is, and she doesn't need anybody else's opinion to validate who she is. So that is, actually happy. Just thank my wife for that. I had some stuff to do with, raising her and all that stuff. But, my wife was with them, mostly. So she pretty much encourages them. I tell, my daughter who she is. I tell her she's pretty. I tell her she's beautiful. Actually, I've been doing that since she was a little kid. And, I want them to understand both of them. I tell them, I don't tell my son he's pretty, but obviously, I know that he knows he's handsome. I know a lot of kids and stuff, tell my mom or my son that, he's handsome. My mother-in-law tell him he's handsome. So I do tell him he's handsome, tell him, he's big and he's got, develop his, confidence, constantly developing your confidence. You always got to develop your confidence. You always got to do positive things, look positive, put positive in, then positive will come out. So if you're constantly putting negative in, then negative going to come out. So, so my daughter said that and I was like, yes, she's like, she understands, what positivity is. So you got a 10-year-old talking, that has more sense than, I guess, an adult. But I mean, it's not necessarily because people just get stuck in, different mindsets and the conditions that they're in. And I don't want to necessarily say like this guy's in bad conditions or anything like that, but I mean, necessarily conditions in your mind, because you can get, in a certain condition where, your mind doesn't change. So if you don't read any books, if you don't, look at any positive videos, if you don't try to change or excel, I wonder what that guy's going to do, when he hops on calls with people. And that's pretty interesting, because I just now thought about that. It was like, what are you going to do if somebody says no? And it's like, what are you going to say? How are you going to react? Like if somebody, you hop on a call with somebody, a business owner, and they say, well, I'm not interested in that service. I mean, what exactly are you going to say to them? What are you going to do to them? What messages are you going to send to them? It's like, I don't know. Maybe you guys need to think about, who you're working with, dig a little deeper, in the, behind the scenes to figure out who you're working with. So yeah, God, just to let you know, I mean, yeah, so that's another reason, why I hopped on here. Well, actually, I kind of just thought of that, but yeah, that's another reason is like, yeah, so if this guy does, if you do work with this guy or whatever, obviously he has a cold calling agency company, because I think he mentioned that, he said when, in one of his statements or whatever, we don't make calls or we take or whatever. So if it's just him or, somebody else or anybody else, so you don't know exactly what he's going to say. So he might just end up, because if he's calling on behalf of your social media agency, then, more than likely they're going to relate your social media agency with this guy and everything that he says. So I don't want him attached. I don't want anybody, not just him. I don't want anybody like that attached, to my company, because obviously you hire, pretty much people are going to think that you're hiring people who you're like. So, I mean, you're pretty much, like begets like. So, what is it? Birds of a feather flock together. So obviously they're going to relate your agency with this guy. So if he is negative in any way, then that means your agency is actually going to get the negative light on that as well. So I have no idea how long I went live, but yeah, that was the last point I wanted to touch on, is the fact that my daughter, a 10-year-old, actually has more sense than, an adult, which is obviously a good thing. So obviously what's going to happen now is she's going to expand on that knowledge, and she is actually going to obviously be, a blessing to, other people, encouragement to other people. So that is a good point. That is a good thing. And let me hop on the other side right here. Look at the comments. So what does it say? It says, let's not get too personal already with that. That's what my wife said. It says, I had to deal with racism from my own kind, Mexican, Spanish growing up. Wow. Let me hear about that, Heather. That's pretty interesting. I know that I guess in some countries in Mexico or even in some Latin American countries, Spanish countries, I know that they said the lighter your skin complexion or the darker your skin complexion, you can experience racism too. I think that happens in Colombia as well, or Colombia as well. So yeah, because I used to work with a guy that it was actually from Colombia, and I think he said that it happened there as well. Like I guess different peoples of different shade, different colors, they actually experience different. Yeah, I guess some people have racism, some people don't. It says he is in bad condition. Hate breeds sickness. Yeah, that's true. It does breed sickness because obviously my wife is big on this. I am too. I'm getting into it, but she knows a lot more than I do as far as energy. So yeah. So if you're looking at or if you're absorbing negative energy, then obviously that can actually take root and effect, and even the foods and stuff you eat. I think some people actually get down to the fact of I don't know. Well, my wife doesn't necessarily get on this, but I mean how the food is grown and all that stuff. If the food is grown under stress, then you can actually take stress into your body. Well, actually, some people say that as far as animals and stuff like that, with the certain meats and stuff that you eat. If the animal was under stress, then when you eat the meat, you can also, I guess, take the energy from that meat or whatever. So I don't know. You can look at it or whatever. Obviously, yeah, there's spirituality and everything. So Heather, yeah, I'm interested in hearing about your story because obviously we can look at your picture and see that you're actually, of a lighter complexion. So I want to know exactly, was it something like as far as that, or I mean, what exactly happened? So it says nothing. I just like evidence. My wife said she liked the evidence. I don't remember what exactly that was about, but so Penny Ford says, yeah, he's in a bad condition. Hate breeds sickness, which that kind of led me to that point. And it says colorism happens in most places. Yeah, that's true. So she says that Penny Ford says it happens in Asia, Africa, Caribbean, Americas. Yeah, that is true. Because I mean, obviously, I guess, like I said, if you're different from everybody else, then obviously you're going to stand out. So I don't know. For some reason, I just thought about the story of the ugly duckling, where he was actually not necessarily the same complexion. Whatever happened to the? What was it? I mean, I know what I guess the concept and the basis of the story was. Accept everybody the way they are and all that stuff. But I mean, what actually happened on that story? What actually happened? I don't remember what happened at the end of the story. I guess what they finally accepted him. That was the end of it. Did they do a movie on that or something? The Ugly Duckling. I know it was a few cartoons and stuff. Obviously, yeah, it was a book, but yeah. So just let me know what you guys think about this situation. Let me know if you've ever experienced, I guess, any type of racism or whatever. Because I know that, I mean, even, I guess, Caucasians experience racism because we think, it just happens to, black people, which obviously, yeah, in America, if you're living in America, more than likely it's pretty much going to happen to you. But I'd like to hear, I guess, stories from, Caucasian, not even that, just Asians and stuff like that, too. Because obviously, I mean, any race, Hispanics, like Heather just said, Mexican, Hispanics. I mean, if you think you've experienced or if you have experienced any type of racism, then let me know. Or my wife said the ugly duckling became a swan, which obviously um, that's a swan's a lot better. I won't say a lot better, but obviously a different type of bird. So actually, it became pretty in the end. I guess that was the situation. So yeah, that's the thing. So understand who you're talking to because you never know, they might be over you one day. Like they said, don't necessarily be mean to the people under you because they might necessarily be over you one day. Like if you're at work or whatever, and then you and a coworker or both coworkers, then they promote you, and then you're all of a sudden you're mean to your coworker. That coworker actually might be over you, might be your boss one day. So be nice to everybody, especially at work, even if they do get on your nerves. I know some people at work where I used to work at, they used to get on my nerves, and I'm not just talking about my last job. I'm talking about all my jobs. So yeah, so don't think. Yeah, I know that there's still some people in my feed who are, well, he might be talking about where he used to work at, and the place that he just. I'm talking about there, and I'm talking about a lot of other places too. So don't just necessarily single yourself out. So yeah, but yeah, just make sure that you're nice to everybody. Oh yeah, so one of my mentors, he has a shirt that says "Be a nice human." So so always be a nice human to everybody you come in contact with. It says corporate America has given beautiful calluses. Oh, that's pretty interesting, Pity. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, beautiful calluses. Yeah, you pretty much, especially with your boss, Dean. Bitter, what's going on? Dean, how you doing, man? I hadn't seen you active online. Actually, this is a guy, man, we went through mastermind with each other, everything he's putting on, the ABM and all that stuff. So, yeah, Dean, I hadn't seen you in a while. Let me know what you're up to. Hit me up in my inbox. What's going on, man? Hope everything is going well. Let me know how you're doing. And yeah, Penny, like she said, yeah, beautiful calluses in corporate America. Yeah, there's just some things you have to swallow, and you have to, yeah, Dean, what's going on, man? Good, good, good. So yeah, some things you just have to swallow, and you just have to take. Because I know it was a couple of times I had to do that, but then towards the end when I was getting ready to leave, I kind of just said a lot of stuff. That's why I was like, I better go ahead and leave before they actually escort me out in handcuffs. Not to say that I was going to do anything, mean or anything, but negative or bad to get arrested. But I mean, just kind of some. I don't know. I don't want to go into that, but obviously, you guys know the stories at my old job. The one I just left, and then the other few jobs. So you know how I am sometimes, especially when I get heated, get into stuff. But it wasn't too bad. I was always pretty much calm. Didn't necessarily throw anything, do anything like that. Might have raised my voice a couple of times, but other than that, might have got on to a few people. But yeah, obviously they deserved it. Sometimes you got to get on people, man. Sometimes you got to get on your coworkers. I couldn't necessarily get on my boss. Even some of my bosses I could. Some of my managers I could get onto because some of them were so laid back. I could jump on them and all that stuff. But yeah, but some of them obviously I couldn't because they didn't know how to take it. And they would have had me in HR's office, which actually some of that did kind of happen. Some of the time. But yeah. So thank you guys for hopping on. Let me know your comments. Let me know, what you think about this. Should I have went live? Should I not have went live? Should I talked about this? Should I not have talked about this? Let me know what's going on with you, man. But I wanted to, just let people know, the majority of the line is you got to understand that people aren't who they say they are, online. Some of the stuff that they post, some of the things that they do, some of the, situation things that they say and all that stuff, that doesn't necessarily mean that, and I'm talking a lot with my hands, and this camera's kind of, messing around with my hands. But I mean, yeah, the true point is that, it doesn't necessarily, just because somebody says something, says they're this, doesn't mean that they're necessarily that. So dig a little deeper, look a little closer, dig deep into their profile, look at their friends and all that stuff. I mean, if you're really going to work with them, going to partner with them, make sure that you know who they truly are. So yeah, my business partner now that I'm working with, actually, actually, I know my business partner now as far as both of them. The one that I work with here locally in Rwanda, I mean, he's a cool guy. He's laid back. I mean, he's nice. I mean, you can look at his profile. I mean, you can see that he really doesn't get irate or anything like that. But my other business partner, yeah, I mean, he's cool. So, I mean, yeah, so I've seen, and actually it wasn't necessarily that. I mean, I've been following him for a while online and all that stuff, and I kind of knew what his personality is like. Now, he gets intense, so I know he's probably going to watch this. So I know he does. He gets intense, and, he will get into you, but he only does that, out of love. He only does that because he can see stuff in you to actually pull you higher and to push you higher. So that is why he does that. But I mean, it wasn't necessarily that. So it was other people that were actually telling me about him. So I've been following him, and then it was other people telling me what type of, person he is. So pretty much before you partner with anybody, this is a good business tip. Actually contact people on their friend list and ask them, do you really know this guy, and who is this guy or who is this gal that I'm getting ready to partner with, get in the ties with. Actually, that's a good idea. That's a point for me because I really haven't done that, necessarily to an extent with some of the business partners that I have partnered with or even thought about partnering with. But that is a good idea to actually contact, I guess, kind of like, references and stuff like that. So pick references for them. So if they don't give you references, or even if they do give you references, obviously, if somebody's going to give you references, then they let the person know that somebody's going to be calling, and asking about their character, personality, and all that stuff. So obviously, I think that they would give you a good reference. So you need to call some of the people who they do not. That's why I never really understood that, but I guess it's a law that you cannot call other people or contact a particular job and ask the job why they left, why that person left the job. It's like, why are they applying for this job? So I think that is per law, you cannot ask, were they fired or anything like that. But I do think you can ask about their personality and all that stuff, their work ethic and all that stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for hopping on. Actually, I need some water. Hopefully I won't lose my voice. Sean Bosler said that when he goes live for, a while, or when he does trainings and all that stuff, you need to have some water right beside you. You need to, take sips and all that stuff. But yeah, hopefully I won't lose my voice, tomorrow or anything like that. My throat is kind of hurting now, but it'll be good. You got to develop calluses. So yeah, so you guys have a good one. Talk to you later. Let me check the comments out. What did my wife say? It says, I'm glad you don't drink coffee. Oh yeah, because I guess energized. I don't know, there's something about getting on live. So stay encouraged and continue to be the change that you want. Penny Ford said, yeah, stay encouraged and continue to be the change that you want to see. Take care. Yes, you take care as well. Thank you for hopping on. Have a good night. Yeah, my wife said, I'm glad you don't drink coffee. Yeah, I'm glad I don't drink coffee, but I got all these stories and stuff. Actually, I'm going to pretty much, I hope I end on this note unless another story pops in my head. But actually, when I was working at one place, this guy, I saw this guy, he was drinking coffee all the time. He was drinking it every day. Every day he was drinking coffee. And somebody said, they said, yeah, they're like, man, you don't want to drink the coffee that this guy drinks because he put some, crazy stuff in it. And I think it was like Jamaican coffee and all this stuff. So I asked him one day, I said, one day, I guess it was, I don't know, I probably stayed up all night. I'm known for doing that, staying up all night, then going to work, and working all day and anything like that. But anyway, this one particular day, I don't know if it was third shift or second shift. Actually, no, it was second shift because he was there and he was working first shift. But I actually asked him one day, I said, hey, I said, let me taste some of that coffee. He made some coffee or whatever, man. He gave me some, he made some coffee. I said, hey, let me taste it. Let me see what it tastes like. I said, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee. So I said, let me just see what it tastes like because everybody's saying, your coffee's whatever. So I took one sip of the coffee, and I don't even know if I finished the cup. And I had so much energy. I don't know what that guy put in the coffee. The only other time when I felt like that is when I was in college and I was taking no dose because I stayed up all night trying to cram because I'm big for that. You can ask my wife about this. We used to study together and all that stuff. Everybody else would be studying. While everybody was studying, I would be asleep. So I don't know why. I don't know why. But we go into the study hall, everybody would sit down. And I don't know, just the fact of just me going into the study hall, I'm not a real big studier. So we went in there and everybody else was studying, but I'd fall asleep. But then by the time it was time for us to go, that's when I was awake and I wanted to study. So, some of the places actually went to University of South Carolina in Columbia, and actually those buildings closed. They did stay open for a certain amount of time, but they closed like 10, 11 o'clock. So I had to find somewhere else to go study. And my roommate necessarily, he would not want me. He didn't want me. Pretty much, actually either one of my roommates for all 5 years I was there. So, my roommate did not want me to, turn the light on because obviously people don't want to sleep with lights. So it was like, well, where am I going to study at? And I did this multiple times. I don't know why. I don't know. I always like to cram and stuff like that. But yeah, so one night, this was actually my freshman year. I took actually no dose. I don't know if they still make this stuff. I don't know what was in it, but I couldn't even, I took one pill and I felt like my heart was going to beat out of my chest. It was like I had so much energy. I said, never again will I do this because I think I stayed awake all day that day and I had been up all night. So I think I probably maybe stayed awake for like 48 hours. I said, I'm never taking this stuff again. So I actually had, I don't know, a ton. I only took one pill out of the packet. I don't know. It might have been a pack of 10, 15, 20, something like that. I don't even know if they make it anymore. It was called No Dose. It was spelled like N-O and then space and then dose, like D-O-Z-E. So it was like they made sure, obviously that's a good marketing name because they made sure that you would not even doze off to sleep. Because I couldn't go to sleep for like 48 hours. So yeah, I don't even know if I studied because I was fidgeting so much. So and I'm in my heart, I was pretty much scared. I was like, man, how old was I then? So I was freshman, so I was like 18, 19, so 17, 18, somewhere around in there, 17 to 19 years old. So yeah, so I was like, this is crazy. It's like, why would they even make anything like this? It's like, well, people want to stay awake. And it's like, yeah, but they don't want to feel like they're going to die, staying awake, dying, their heart going to be out of their chest. I literally thought my heart was actually going to fly out of my chest. And it was like, I was going to have to pull it back in. And I didn't know what was going on, man. It's like, man, this is crazy. So yeah, that was like the only time. And then when I drank that guy's coffee, because I told him, it's like, man, I took a sip of it. It's like, man, what in the world did you put in this coffee? It's like, I feel like I want to jump over the building. And they started, man, people started laughing. They were laughing, man. It's like, man, I don't know what to do, man. It's like, what do I do? It's like, I can't sit down, because when I sit down, I'm going to stand up. And then even if I do sit down, my legs are going to be moving, my body's going to be moving. It's like, how in the world do you drink this every day? And the guy was always hyper anyway. So, I mean, he was very hyper. So, but it's like, I know why, you're hyper now, but I wonder what he would have been like if he didn't drink that coffee, every day. But anyway, that was pretty interesting. It was like, man, this is crazy. So yeah, the no-dos and the coffee, I know to stay away from, those things. And actually, Rwanda's known for coffee. Rwanda's pretty much known for coffee as well. And that's actually, I haven't had a sip of coffee. I had did I take, yeah. I know I had African tea, which that is that's delicious. So what they do is they actually get like black tea or something, and then they mix it with milk, which is pretty good. But I didn't drink cow's milk. I don't like cow's milk. Sometimes I get reactions and stuff to cow milk, but I actually had coconut milk. And for some reason, I'm sniffing. I don't know if the door's open over there or what. But yeah, maybe that's an indication I need to hop off. How long? Let me see this live. See if I can see how long I've been on. No, I can't see. But it looks like, a couple of people stayed on. I got 36 comments, which who cares about the comments? But yeah, thank you guys for hopping on. And I'm about to hop off. So let me know your thoughts in the post. Drop them down below about, racism, not even necessarily racism, just negative people reaching out to you. What are some of your situations with negative people? Negative people, what do you do? How do you focus? How do you get through? How do you push through on the fact that, a negative person is coming after you, especially, a lot of you guys in sales and stuff. Sales is hard. I just want you guys to know that. So I have a lot of respect for salesmen, because people can be rude and negative and nasty, and especially, just in general. But especially if you're actually trying to sell stuff to them, they can be really, rude, especially when you're cold calling and all that stuff. So what do you guys do? What are some of your tactics of dealing with, I guess, just negativity and when people are rude to you? What are some of the tactics that you guys use and some of the tactics that you guys have? Thank you guys for hopping on, and I'm about to hop off. You guys have a good one. I said that about 5 times, but I'm really about to leave right now. You guys have a good one. Take care. And we will see you on the next one. I like to do this salute. Actually, I got a Rwandan salute now. So I've taken America and moved it over here to Rwanda in some way. I don't know if they're true salute or not. But yeah, so I like to salute. I salute everybody. Actually, there's one guy that was here in the house. He was like, man, Mike just kind of salutes like, just kind of F you, but really that's not what I'm saying. I salute out of respect, just salute out of fun. But obviously, I don't even know if this guy's on Facebook. But the reason why I started saluting was actually, we kind of used to play with each other because I used to be a security guard. Yeah, imagine that. I used to be a security guard. And yeah, I kind of got laughed at from this one lady. She was like, you're supposed to guard this place, which she was like, well, why? I don't want to go into that story. But yeah, she kind of laughed at me. But yeah, so actually, we salute each other just, I guess, kind of out of a form of, you're really supposed to be, respectful. And it's like, we really have some type of authority and level, but really, we really don't have much at all. So really, the salute was just kind of, just actually a funny gesture. And I don't know where that guy is now. We actually, yeah, I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's still a security guard, but he was only doing the security thing just like me as a part-time job, because actually I was getting off one of my jobs and going to the next one. But anyway, yeah, you guys have a good one. And I said I was going to hop off, so I don't want to say it again, which I just did, but I'll salute you. Have a good one.